Hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Everybody, what's up? Welcome to Dude That's Fucked Up. I'm Erin.
I'm Nicole.
How's all the peeps doing out there? All the dudes?
How is your induction into the Illuminati so far? I hope you've made lots of money and
Oh yeah, I'm going on fabulous vacations all the time. I'm actually recording from Jay-Z's yacht right now. So
oh yeah, I could see a lot of like naked, like beautiful people behind you.
Yeah, just like dicks and boobs everywhere. It's cool. It's no downsides, really.
No, it's all upsides.
Yeah.
And by upsides, I mean dongs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I posted this on the Instagram, but I was at the Spy Museum and I, of course, found Illuminati books. It was just like right there in the gift shop.
And then your name was like in there magically, and you're like, "How did this get here?"
It was like already on the list.
Yeah. What?
But I will say probably the most enduring scandal that we have from that episode is the meatloaf discussion. Just to be clear, I'm saying meatballs are nothing like meatloaf, in case that wasn't clear.
No, I think people are mad at me, which my argument is that texturally they're very similar. They're both mushed up meat into like a lump is where I was trying to go with that. I don't feel like I need to defend myself. I think it's funny. But
Fair.
I acknowledge they definitely taste different. And also
You're Italian, so
I'm Italian
should...
and my family is in the meat business, and so I definitely know there's a difference, but I think it's very funny, the outrage. I like woke up to some like tweets on Wednesday morning, and I was like, oh, but you know, it's funny. It's very fun.
Food can be very polarizing. You know?
My grandpa's family was like Italian immigrants, like came here on a boat at the age of like 12, and yeah, I have a very
you got some meatball cred.
I got some meat cred.
Meat cred.
Meat cred. Yeah, but what a fun! I love that stuff. I like that happens. But you know what? We're doing something right because you want people to have an emotional response.
That's right. I think you're totally 100% correct.
And like the more dumb it is, like the more like the content is dumb, the better, because we're not actually offending anyone, and that's what's
true.
Fun. Because I'm like,
That's true.
You know what? I could clear the air right now on Twitter. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna lean into it.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're the same, no? And
just no.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, and then I posted a poll, which was fun.
Oh,
I really leaned into it hard.
I saw it, but then I couldn't find it again. My algorithm's all fucked up. I need to like look for it so I can vote.
Yeah, it's just
I wanted to add another answer.
Wait, should I read where it's at right now? The polls are still open, but they'll be closed by the time we air this. Let me let me just pull it up.
Okay.
It's on our like regular Facebook page. It's not in the group.
That's why.
It's public, but I want to see what the results are right now.
Amazing.
Oh, okay. Okay. All I posted was meatballs are, and then the first option was tiny Italian round loaves.
No.
And the second option was the fuck you say to me? Guess what's winning?
The fuck you say to me?
No. That has 37% of the votes. So
I think
you'll have to vote.
I don't know.
19 people voted on it, though. I don't know why that's funny to me. People are actually taking the time out of their day to vote.
It's great. It's too cute. Oh, my God.
Anyway, that's been a real treat.
Real treat. Yeah. Any other housekeeping or business of the day?
No. I think we always welcome people to leave a review on iTunes.
Please do. That'd be great. You could just give us 5 stars.
Yeah.
You don't have to give us any other rating besides that. If you're like meh about it, just don't give us. Just don't. But if you're like, I care about the podcast and my friends Erin and Nicole.
Yeah.
Because we are your friends. Give us 5 stars. You don't even have to write anything, but if you feel so inclined, that'd be sweet.
It'd be so sweet. We love reading them. I go and look at them sometimes when I'm like just feeling like I need a little pep in my step.
Yeah.
And
even the ones that like are constructive criticism are nice too.
Yeah. Well, there's no bad ones.
No.
I'll also don't put any profanity in your review because then they won't post it. Apple.
That's true.
Won't post it. So just
that's
FYI.
True. Yeah. So go on the Apple iTunes Apple Podcasts and shoot us a rating and a reviewing.
Yeah, and thank you in advance for your participation.
Yeah, much appreciate. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, and tell a friend also.
Oh, that'd be great. Also, if you tell a friend and they're like, I'm not that into it, ask them why and then tell us.
Maybe it's because we say butthole too much or maybe not enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all for me, all the housekeeping. But anything fucked up for you this week?
No, the only
personally or otherwise, because I have something that has nothing to do with me.
Oh. Well, I don't know. Well, I'm always unprepared for this question, but like I know it's coming, so that's fucked up. But I will say there was a little bit of a debate at work on Wednesday about palm reading being real or not. And I was like, oh, no. I stayed out of it. But, I just was like, I just have strong opinions about lots of things that I probably need to just keep to myself in general so that I don't.
Yeah.
So that
like
I have
somebody
who
wants to give us a 3-star review. Like, keep it to yourself.
Or 4 or 2 or 1. Just keep that opinion to yourself.
Yeah.
We do want to hear from the 5 stars, though. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Anything that's like general feedback that is, just send us an email.
I love emails.
I do too. We've gotten some really good ones lately that I think we should read soon.
Yeah.
We have to have an episode where we do the another like fun listener
Fawn
reading.
mail.
Fawn mail.
Also called
Dude
fun
mail.
Dude mail, yeah. What's your fucked up thing this week?
Okay, so I have been very invested in the Khloe Kardashian, Tristan Thompson fucking debacle.
Go on.
Dude, it is so fucked up.
Okay, what is there like proof that he was cheating on her? For sure,
yes.
For sure? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've caught wind of this a little bit here and there, but I haven't like delved into it.
Okay, if you guys don't know or don't care, feel free to skip ahead. I'm going to talk about this for like literally like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think it's because I'm pregnant. I feel so many feelings for Khloe Kardashian that I've never felt before.
Well, she's a human. She was also pregnant. She just gave birth.
Yeah. And I have to say, like, I'll get into my theory about this in a second, but so initially finding out about this, I was like, holy fucking shit, this is really fucked up. This is so sad. If you don't know, Khloe Kardashian is 9 months pregnant, about to give birth, found out, it just like exploded on social media, all over the internet, that her baby daddy, Tristan Thompson, who plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers, cheated on her, and like very blatantly in public with multiple women. Yeah, there's like video and pictures of him making out and getting his dick grabbed by like 2 women in a club in DC. And yeah. And then there's like there's like more images, pictures, video, whatever, of a woman coming out of his like hotel room with like an overnight bag. that is not Khloe Kardashian.
Oh,
It is.
no.
It's just like it. So it's been all over the internet, and I've just been like seeing this. I just can't imagine the amount of like humiliation and shame and just like sadness that even if okay, and I'm going to get to my theory about this really quickly. So I think that Pimp Mama Chris is working harder than the devil ever has. And I feel like maybe the cynic in me says that Khloe and Tristan have some sort of arrangement. And it might not even be that big of a deal. However, I feel it could be that Pimp Mama Chris is spinning this so that it looks like even worse. Maybe he was already on the way out.
Oh.
And it's generating all this buzz. And I don't know, but probably not. Who knows?
I feel like the timing would be bad of that because she just had the baby too. So it's like too much together at the same time, but maybe not because the fact that she did just have the baby also makes you feel really bad for her because she's like, wow, that's a theory.
That, yeah. Even, so maybe they did have an arrangement and then it kind of like went to shit. And then PMK was like, no. You done fucked up.
You're cut off.
You are about to get destroyed. So, and then the greatest thing about, I mean, not that there's not anything great about this. It's all sad. But so Khloe gives birth and he apparently came to the hospital and like ever since all this started happening, like people at games have been booing him. Like this has gone IRL so hard.
OMG.
Where it's like spilling into his like professional life and people are just trolling him on every single social media platform. It is, what a time to be alive.
I did see that people are like making signs in the audience and I read something about like everyone hated Khloe because everybody always thinks that like when basketball players get like girlfriends that are especially high profile, they're like a jinx on the team.
Sure. They're like Yoko Onoing or something.
Yeah. They're like the Yoko of the basketball team or whatever. So then they like blame any like bad games or injuries or whatever on the girlfriend. Well, so people were doing that up until this whole like cheating scandal broke. And now people are all like Team Khloe. And like that makes it even funnier because it's like people just a week ago were like, Khloe's the Yoko of this team and like that's why they're bad and all this stuff and now people are like no. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't need. Yeah, it's you can't fuck up this publicly.
No.
With and like I feel like Khloe's I like Kim a lot. I like them all, but I think Khloe's like probably the realest of all of them, and I feel so bad if she's like so fucking sad and upset.
That's sad.
It's sad.
Yeah, she just had a baby.
Like she's
That's
being
hard.
abandoned.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? If anybody could be like on her own and raising a baby. Well, she's not on her own. She has her sisters and her, her family. But like,
and her momager.
Yeah, her momager, Chris, Pimp Mama Chris.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like she's like the one that can do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's all a business deal and she doesn't even like that dude and I don't know.
Yeah. The fucked up thing though is that I cannot believe have become this invested in in a person's life that I don't even know.
It's hot goss. It's hot goss.
Such hot goss. Yeah.
I like all this shit.
Me too.
I do. Okay, I did think of something that was very interesting, and I was like, oh, we have to talk about this, and hopefully it's still, like, relevant, but the whole Facebook Senate hearing with Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, my God, it's been great.
OMG.
I've definitely watched it, and it's just, I watched the first day, the majority of it, and it was so, it was just very exhausting listening to these senators talk about something or ask questions about something they don't understand at all.
I know.
At all. And then the second day, the congressional hearings, so they did the Senate the first day, and then they did Congress the second day.
Oh.
And those questions were better.
Oh, okay.
There was like a little bit more knowledge and thought going into the questions. But
Dude, people were just like so like accusatory and not even asking questions. And I was like, what is the question in this? Like, but
There
they just
wasn't.
wanted to like grandstand and be all like high and mighty to him. And it's just like, everybody calm down. Ugh, it's like never made me look at them and be like, oh God, they're all like so old. And it just doesn't give me confidence in like the leadership of this country.
Vote them
Yeah,
out.
get rid.
Get rid.
Oy.
Oy, oy, oy. Anyway. Well, speaking of old, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, real old.
Real old. We're going back to the age of silent films for our topic today.
That's old.
It's old. That's That's like almost 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's like
More than, right?
About 100 years ago. Yeah.
Oh yeah, about yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about one silent film star in particular, who became the subject of one of the first public thrashings of a man in Hollywood, accused of sexual assault and murder. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the rape and murder of Virginia Rapay, is how you say her name. I made sure it wasn't
rape.
Because it's not rape.
I know.
And the famous silent film star we're talking about is Fatty Arbuckle. Mm-hmm. He was accused of committing this heinous crime.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot about this.
We're
gonna get into this. It is very confusing. I'm just gonna tell you from firsthand from researching it.
Yeah, the story gets confusing, but it's pretty straightforward in terms of like what we know, how like what Hollywood is. At the time, I don't think public perception had the same kind of cynicism as we do now about Hollywood. Mm-hmm. We didn't, at the time, this was like golden age of Hollywood. There were these fabulous movie stars. I guess the golden age of Hollywood would probably be like 40s and 50s, but this was golden silent film. I don't know.
The silent golden age.
Silent golden age, yeah. So you had these like big stars. It was kind of like a newer, I guess, platform of entertainment, kind of like Facebook. Not really. And there was lots of movie stars that like started out in vaudeville, and that's exactly how Fatty Arbuckle started. So just like delving into a little bit of his life real quick. He was born Roscoe Conkling Arbuckle on March 24th, 1887.
What a weird middle name.
Well, let me tell you why.
Oh, okay.
He was born in Kansas. He was one of 9 kids. He was a huge baby. He was 13 pounds. And his father was very suspicious that he came out so big because the father and the mother were very small, slight people. So he was like, he thought his wife was cheating on him. Great start, Dad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, real fucking asshole.
I'm surprised that didn't kill the mother.
Well,
back in the day.
It sort of did. So because the dad was such an asshole who wanted his kid to live with the memory of his father's distrust and disdain for the rest of his life, he named him after a politician he hated, Roscoe Conkling.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so this is
what
probably
a piece of shit.
Yeah, his dad was an asshole. So this is probably the pettiest thing I have ever heard of in my life. It'd be like if I named my baby Paul Ryan, if he came out looking like a smug fucking dickhead. Like, that's the equivalent. Like, oh, like, we have a name picked out, but the baby comes out, and I'm like, nope, that's a Paul Ryan.
Yeah. Oh,
that's what his dad did. He named him after a fucking politician that he hated because he was such a dickhead.
My God.
Can you believe that?
That's rude.
Yeah, it's super
and
rude.
Also, like, probably reminded him every day that, like,
that's what I'm
you
saying.
know who you're named. Like, when he's all drunk at night in his armchair, he's like, you know who you're named after.
Yeah, fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So he's great. Does not off to a great start here.
No.
He came out 13 pounds. It was obviously a very traumatic birth for his mother, who she ended up developing all kinds of health problems after the birth of him. And I don't know, she must have had just like ongoing infections. I mean, this is like the turn of the century here. So
I'm surprised a baby of his size didn't just like blow her bottom
Destroy
half right
her.
off.
I mean, it kind of did, is what it sounds like. They didn't go into, I couldn't find any like real details on it, but from what it sounds like is she was dealing with some stuff for 12 fucking years.
Oh, God.
Like, she just had chronic health problems for 12 years after giving birth to him.
She was all butthole, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got, her insides were on her outsides is kind of what it sounds like. I don't know. Yeah, I know.
Well.
But, and I, as I get closer to birthing a baby, I have got to say, and I feel like I say this every fucking episode, thank God for modern medicine.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What a time to be alive in a good way.
In a good way.
Because you know what? When that baby reaches like maybe 8 pounds, the doctor will be like, you know what? Let's just get it out of there.
Let's just take him out.
It's done.
He was overcooked, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So
if they would have stuck a meat thermometer in there, they would have seen, oh, it's over. It's well done. And no one's going to want to eat this.
No. Nobody wants this, a meatball. Sorry. Yeah, so when he was a toddler, like around 2, the family moved to Santa Ana, California.
Hey.
And that's where, when he, being in Southern California at that time, it's when you just get into showbiz. When he was about 8 years old, he was just like a very cute little chubby kid, and he, I think he had a really beautiful singing voice, and so he was a natural.
Yeah, he went to the mall, and the Barbizon people were like, "Hey, kid, is this your mom? We'd love to talk to you about getting some headshots."
Barbizon. No, totally. It's kind of like what it was. So he was out there. He was doing his thing. His mom was super encouraging, and his father just hated him. Never really got over the big baby situation. What an asshole. So when his mom died when he was 12, his dad just kicked him to the curb and stopped supporting him. You could just do that then, I guess. You could just stop caring for your biological 12-year-old son.
Oh my God. I feel like I feel like how shitty dads were a long time ago, our generations are still recovering from it.
Oh yeah.
It's so yeah, this guy sounds like a real loser.
Lasting trauma of a centuries old toxic masculinity.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just hanging in the air like a really bad fart.
Like a wet fart.
Yeah, like a humid wet fart. So
humid.
Yeah.
Ew. Oh my God. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Someone took a shit in the theater bathroom last night, and I have to stand by it for the show,
Ew.
while I'm in there.
God damn it.
I think a man had a upset tummy.
Aww.
Because it's kind of like the ladies' room, but because the other bathroom just has a urinal in it. So he went in there, and it was sickly. It was.
Great, cool. Or just took a bite of yogurt.
I know. I'm do you want to do that while I tell you how this shit smelled? It was biley.
That's a sickly fart or toot or poop or whatever happened. When it's kind of sweet and cloying, that's when you know it's you're sick.
It had a probiotic smell to it, like yogurt.
Fuck off. God damn it. Oh my God.
Okay, go ahead.
So he's basically kicked out of the house at 12. So he was doing a bunch of odd jobs to support himself, and
that's terrible.
I know, 12 years old. So he's just hustling out there in these streets, and he also he had this beautiful singing voice. So he ended up having some auditions, and that's how he started his career in vaudeville.
Wow.
Yeah, so he traveled around with a vaudeville troupe and became pretty well known and successful.
Oh.
And then he parlayed that into movies around 1909 when he was about 22. So he was like kind of well known in the vaudeville circuit, and I think he had moved up to Oregon by then or something, and then he ends up getting into the film industry. But around this time, he was about 300 pounds. And I think that was pretty rare for then.
Yeah.
A lot of people are pretty small and like malnourished, but he was just like a big dude. And his physical attributes of being just a really big old guy helped him play up his comedic performances on screen. So he had this, he was rotund, but also surprisingly acrobatic, so he could like move around really quickly and lightly on his feet. And so it was just like it was interesting to watch him on screen. But he was really self-conscious about his size, and he refused to go for like the obvious fat shamey gags like getting stuck in a doorway or a chair or something like that. So he actually, his shtick was the old pie in the face.
Oh.
That's where that like kind of came from. He was the originator of those like kind of sight gags.
Oh.
And you know, who doesn't love a good food fight, pie in the face situation?
I like a pie in the face because I could also eat it. Maybe that's what he was interested in too.
Yeah, it was just like surprise kind of like shock and delight situation.
Yeah. And then you get to eat the whipped cream.
Yeah. So, he was still a very, very talented singer at this time, but it was silent movie, so nobody knew that. But
so anybody could really say that.
Yeah, but no, there was like, he could have taken a path as a singer. Like he could have been a famous singer if he had chosen to develop that as a career. But he didn't. He liked being on film. And he, as a child, had the nickname Fatty because, of course, that's what children do. But it carried through to his adulthood, and that's how he kind of ended up with the name Fatty Arbuckle. That's what everybody called him on screen. But off screen, he preferred to not be called that. He had a name and liked to remind people that he had a name.
Yeah.
But we're going to call him Fatty because that was his persona.
Stage name.
And his stage name, yeah.
Yeah.
And like people also called him like really mean names. His quote unquote fans called him the Prince of Wales, which is like Whales.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. It's
I
so
know,
sad.
but it's good too.
Yeah.
It's clever.
It's clever. And the balloonatic. I don't know. I don't know.
The balloonatic?
Yes! That's what it is. It was spelled so, like, it's not a real word, so I'm like, what is this trying to say? I thought it was like, I thought it was like Illmatic, like Nas, like, album.
But it's like a lunatic.
Balloonatic. That is what it is.
Okay.
God damn it.
Thank
you.
You're welcome.
No, you got it.
All right.
It's not in context. I've never heard anyone be referred to as a balloonatic.
No.
That's fucked up.
But I get it because he's round and he's like physical with his comedy, so.
But also very light on his feet.
Yeah, like he's full of helium.
Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, he didn't embrace all the fat jokes like a lot of people, a lot of the public thought he did. And he'd get upset when people call him fatty.
Yeah.
So his movies became super successful, though, and he became wildly wealthy and famous. He was the second highest paid actor in Hollywood behind Charlie Chaplin for a time there.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So that's him, and then he is doing his thing, and simultaneously there's a woman whose name is Virginia Rappe, and she was born in Chicago, raised by her grandmother. She's beautiful, became a commercial and art model. She moved to San Francisco in 1916 when she was like 20 or 21 to pursue her career more seriously. She got engaged to a dress designer shortly after moving there, but he ended up getting killed by a streetcar. That sucks.
Oh.
Like the most San Francisco death you can imagine.
A streetcar named Expire.
Oh. Dun-dun-ch. Good Lord. That was good.
Thank you.
So that was pretty traumatizing for her. So she moved to LA to get out of San Francisco and to get into movies. So she started to get into stuff, and this is where she became kind of an it girl. She was cast in a couple of films in 1917, one of which was with Rudolph Valentino.
Oh.
Yeah.
She liked the designer vibes.
Yeah, well, Rudolph Valentino was one of the biggest silent movie stars.
Oh.
You're thinking of Valentino, the designer.
Oh, are they not related?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But
movie stars wear Valentino. It's in the, we could draw a web, I bet.
Sure.
I don't know. I can't.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was like just a stage name.
Yeah.
But she was in movies. She was dubbed at one point the best dressed girl in pictures.
Oh.
She was eventually got into a relationship with Henry Lerman, who in 1919, who was a pretty big director and producer, and she starred in many of his films. They lived together and became engaged eventually. So she was like in the orbit of elite Hollywood people and was pretty well known in her own right. So then we get to a little bit later down the road. Mm-hmm. People are partying really hard in this community in Hollywood.
I mean, that's always been the case, and it's always been. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're wealthy and famous, then you can like do whatever you want. Like you're gonna party.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
And you don't really have like a real, job or like, you have times when you're not working, and then I don't know. It's just like such a lifestyle that like you can.
Well, you work hard, play hard, you know?
Work hard, play hard, yeah.
Yeah, these people were making a ton of money, and just, even though Prohibition was the thing around this time, people were still getting real turnt. Yeah. And you could just, if you had money and power, you could get all the alcohol you wanted.
Yeah, you drink all that toilet gin.
Yeah, and people were not taking very good care of themselves that were, like, doing excessive stuff, obviously. If you refer back to episode 13, I believe, the Kellogg brothers, this is around the time where people were like, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
I need to lose a couple pounds.
It's like, because I've only been eating a meat diet.
And drinking booze that's illegal for a long time. So that's kind of the place, like, Fatty Arbuckle was in at this time. He's, like, not in good shape. He's always been overweight. He's, and of course, like, when you have access to whatever you want, who's going to say no to you?
Yeah.
So he ends up getting in pretty bad health, not taking good care of himself, and his health starts deteriorating. So around 1916, he ends up getting a really bad infection on his leg that turns into a carbuncle. I didn't know what this was, so I Googled it. Don't do that.
Oh, no.
Do not do that.
But should I right now?
Do it.
I don't know.
Just do it.
Okay, hang on. Carbuncle. Why is it so close to his name?
I don't know. That is gross. Maybe they named it after him. I don't know.
Oh, no. Oh, no. There's no... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. There's a YouTube video. I'm not going to watch it.
No, God, don't do that. That's a bridge too far.
It looks like...
That's a bunkle too far. It's so bad. Well, what it is what the bunk? It's a cluster of infected boils, and it's real bad.
It looks like someone grated some cojita cheese on a tomato.
Oh, that sounds kind of good, actually.
Or like crumbled it, or like feta, if you don't. Or is it cotija cheese? Maybe it's cotija.
Cotija.
Oh man.
Oh, fucking hell.
Onto like a flattened. onto like a flattened cinnamon gummy bear because it's like
Or,
more of a pinkish.
Oof. Don't Google it. Let us just describe it.
And then put it in
It's
a
like
broiler till it
like
got
a
all bubbly.
steak tartare. Yeah. Ew. Okay. Well, it's a cluster of infected boils, and they almost had to amputate his leg.
Oh.
But luckily, it ended up getting better. And so after this, he actually became addicted to morphine.
Oh, no.
Because this shit hurts, as you can imagine. So
What a life.
Yeah, he's not doing too good.
No.
He's working really, really hard too. He's in tons of movies, and he's just like constantly moving, constantly drinking, constantly working, and now he's addicted to morphine. And he then in 1921 he injures himself on a movie set real bad. He I think it was on a movie set, but there's differing accounts. But he basically sat down on a pile of acid-soaked rags, and it burned through his clothes and burned his butt.
Why are you fucking sitting on rags? Move that shit off the chair. I don't understand.
I don't know. Maybe he didn't see him. I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't know. It was a rough situation. If you can imagine, like, chemical burns on your butthole. Well, it wasn't his butthole. It was just his butt.
Yeah.
His outer butt. His cheeks.
What's the inner butt?
Their butthole.
Oh.
Your butthole.
Oh, because you know how, like, ladies have, like, a labia majora, labia minora, like... The outer butt is like the sides, like the butt flaps, or like the saddlebags, and then the inner
cheeks.
butt is like the inner cheek. Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
I'll draw a diagram and post it so people are clear.
Yeah, just in case you can't figure out what we're talking about. But his butt was all burned up, and he was like in pain and was like, "Fuck this! I need a break."
Yeah.
Let's go to San Francisco and party, guys.
Yeah, it was like fucking Labor Day weekend, 1921. They're like, let's get some girls, let's get some booze, let's go to this bougie ass hotel, the St. Francis in San Francisco. You know what? We're gonna drive there. Here's a hemorrhoid donut for you to sit on.
He literally did sit on a hemorrhoid donut, I think.
He did, yeah.
He did. Yeah. So I mean, and that's a fucking long ass drive from LA to.
And plus, like, in that time period,
they weren't driving 80 miles an hour. They were driving like 40. It probably took like 14 hours to get up there.
They probably had to take a fucking pedicab or some chariot or some shit. What even existed then?
Model Ts and shit? I don't know.
Just barely.
Yeah. Well, they weren't going that fast, I can tell you.
Yeah, it probably took a good 10 hours.
Yeah. So they are going to, like, their, like, fucking Drink-a-Palooza, Booze-Chella, whatever, in the hotel in San Francisco, getting out of town.
Yeah.
And they are in this hotel room. They have all these, like industry people and hot babes.
Yeah.
And there's like some sketchy people there and then some like high profile people, but it's like a fucking party.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture of the hotel room after?
No.
Like after pictures? Oh my God. It's like destroyed.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like party like a rock star. Big time.
Have you ever seen the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Yes.
You know the first time that they meet? Like, the two, and he like comes upstairs to her, or downstairs or wherever, to her apartment, and comes in and everyone's just wasted.
Yep.
That's what this makes me think of. We're just like, people are just like crammed into a space and everyone's just shit-faced and like, dudes are like sticking their hands on pinching ladies' butts and stuff because that was acceptable behavior back then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And people are just like making out in the corner and breaking shit because it's funny.
Yeah. It was like a full-blown rager. Yeah. And like in the hotel room, and nobody's going to tell them to stop. Like they're famous and rich, and everybody's like, "Don't disturb Mr. Fatty or Mr. Arbuckle or whatever." That's mean. So they're just boozing it up. I think they had like some bootlegged alcohol.
Yeah.
Probably condition of getting that alcohol is like letting some like sketchy ass people come in.
Yeah.
Um,
Because they're the
yeah,
ones making it, or they have the connections.
yeah. And in the meantime, like he's probably fucked up on morphine too, like
Yeah.
some kind of painkiller. He's like making some lean in the corner, you know,
He's just like,
like purple drank.
yeah, he just has his pants down. He's rubbing cream on his buns.
Oh my God. He's probably like in a bad mood too.
Um, Also, he was kind of known as a carouser, right? Like,
Yeah, he's a partier.
yeah, partier.
That's
Okay.
why he was like not in great shape. Like he's partying hard.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta
Um,
take care of your shit.
Nobody knew how to take care of themselves back then.
No.
Like nobody knew. Um, so yeah, they're fucked up. They're wasted. And so then and Virginia Rapay is at this
Yeah.
Rapay. She's at this party as well. She
Yeah.
was in the crew of like fun LA people to come up for the party. Um,
Or like depending on your source, she was with the like bootleg. She was like with the crazy bootleggers. We don't know.
I who knows? Conflicting
Yeah.
accounts are already starting.
Yeah. Oh man, and it gets worse.
Yeah. So, as everybody's getting real wasted and partying, there's a lot of commotion and shit goes down, and Virginia Rapay ends up screaming from a closed bedroom, and she's collapsed, and she's laying in a bed, and Fatty Arbuckle comes out of the room and is like, "Oh, she's not feeling good."
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "What happened?"
Uh-huh.
So she's in bad shape. Something really traumatic has happened to her.
She's like screaming bloody murder. Like she's like in so much
She's in
excruciating pain. She's
Yeah.
like screaming.
Yeah, and people are like, "What the fuck is happening?" And
Yeah.
when something like that happens, everybody kind of sobers up and the party
Oh, yeah.
kind of ends.
Grinding halt.
Yeah, so people are trying to comfort her. There's people running for doctors, whatever. Seems like the party probably dispersed after this.
Yeah.
But they kind of leave her in the room, and the hotel personnel comes in, doctors come in, and she's in bad shape.
Yeah.
So they can't really figure out what's going on with her, but conflicting things are happening. One of the women that's there claims she said that Fatty Arbuckle did something to her. And who knows? There's a lot of stuff happening. It's kind of chaotic, and everybody's still fucked up, obviously.
Oh, way fucked up.
There's a lot of urban legend around this that is like very, very fucked up, and I won't say specifically, but there's the rumors abound that he like raped her with foreign objects, let's just say. But who knows?
Yeah. There's like I feel like two like main narratives emerged. Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't really emerge, but we know them now because we'll talk about like the narrative that did emerge. But like the one is that was his side of the story, which was that like he found her, she was puking in the toilet. He like helped pick her up and put her on the bed, and she started screaming, and people came in and like they called the doctor, blah blah blah. The other side was from a woman who was friends with Virginia, or claimed to be friends with Virginia, who said that Virginia had like gotten up, they were hanging out and partying, and she had gotten up to look for a bathroom, and Arbuckle followed her into the room. And then they were gone for like 30 minutes. Then they heard the screaming. Everybody ran in, or, whatever, went to the door, and he like opened the door and was standing there in his pajamas, and she was like on the bed screaming. So there's like two I think like sides of the story, I guess. I mean, there's always going to be, or there's more even. Like there's so many
Yeah.
different accounts, like some, just like so many different details that like different people gave versions of, and it's like
Yeah,
really
there's like
hard to
this.
figure out.
There's two main narratives: his story and the friend,
Yeah.
quote unquote friend, that claims that something that he basically sexually assaulted her and
Yeah.
did something else to her.
Yeah.
And then his account, which is that she was just really sick.
Yeah.
And then there's also hotel workers, people who were at the party, and there's like bits and pieces of pictures of their perspective, maybe.
Yeah.
That may be truthful, maybe may not be.
Yeah. But all accounts, they were together in that room. She was like screaming in pain. They, people were like alerted to the situation. They called the front desk, got a doctor. She was not in a good way.
Yeah. She, what ended up happening was her bladder ruptured. And that is very bad because urine basically leaks into your body, like into parts of your body it shouldn't be. You can get sepsis from this. And she eventually died a few days later.
Yeah.
But so there is some crazy stuff happening around that where she wasn't taken to the doctor immediately.
Oh my God.
She was like seen by physicians, but was just left at the hotel. I'm assuming because she was like not stable enough to move or something. But
yeah,
still,
I don't know. It screams malpractice to me. Because if a doctor saw her and she was in that much pain, why not tell her to go to the hospital?
Right.
I mean, this is 1921. I know they did things differently back then, but like, and by differently, I mean worse.
Yeah.
But it's just weird. And then her friends didn't take her. She literally stayed at that hotel for 3 or 4 days after this incident, and then went to the hospital and then died. Like, there's just something weird. Yeah. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but it's like,
it was like she was just left at this hotel. But it could also be that she was in so much pain and unstable that if she was moved, she would like die from shock or something.
Maybe, yeah.
So she died. And so then basically he was arrested for assault and murder.
Oh, well, he turned himself in.
He turned himself in. Well, he was taken into custody because he turned himself in.
Yeah.
Or he was charged with her rape and murder, and he turned himself in, I should say.
Yeah.
So this goes to trial.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge deal. This is the first time anybody that's really high profile has ever been accused of something so fucking heinous as rape and murder. Like, this is a time where everything happens behind closed doors. Like, people don't talk openly about, I mean, they do, but it's like in a way that's like so public where it's on the front page of every single newspaper. Mm-hmm. It's in everybody's conversation, like how we were just talking about at the top of this, like Chloe and Tristan.
Yeah.
That shit, when something like that happens, it's like, holy shit, this is terrible. This is insane.
Yeah.
This was shocking at the time. Mm-hmm. So I guess we could say William Randolph Hearst gets into this, and probably at the time, like, newspapers were just reporting the facts. But William Randolph Hearst was he sensationalized it. We talked about this in the Patty Hearst episode. Patty Hearst was the great-granddaughter of William Randolph Hearst.
I think great-granddaughter.
Great-granddaughter. And he was the first person to, like, really figure out how to leverage public outcry and create a huge stir with sensationalized kind of tabloidy newspapers and articles. So yeah.
Well, that's the tricky part, right? It's like, at the end of the day, a newspaper is a business.
Yeah, you got to sell those papes.
Yeah, so people needed to figure out, like, I mean, it's the reason why, like, the news is so disgusting these days, because everyone wants to get the ratings so that they can sell more ads.
And also why, different news media companies try to scoop things and they report things without doing a lot of fact checking sometimes.
Yep.
They just want the story out there and they need to move quickly before another outlet gets it. So, so this is all pre that though, because at the time it was just like something would go out on the AP wire and it would just be basic facts that are known. And Hearst was just playing up all the emotion of the situation. So.
Yeah, he leaned into like the frenzy of it and like exploited that.
Yep.
And good for him. I mean, not good for him. Rude. It was bad. But it was reported after this, after all of this ended, they had sold more newspapers across the U.S. with this on the front page than they had about the Lusitania sinking, the ship sinking.
Wow.
Which is crazy. That was just straight up a ship sank.
Yeah.
And this was like somewhat fabricated.
Well, yeah.
It was manipulated.
A disaster versus a media disaster.
Yeah.
Yikes. So, yeah. So this is pretty wild. So basically the trial happens and all these things start coming out. Like the prosecution and the defense are bantering back a bunch of theories and things. So the main thing is they're trying to disprove that he had anything to do with her murder by saying that Virginia had health issues that contributed to her bladder bursting.
That was the defense's narrative.
Yeah, so she did have a chronic bladder condition known as cystitis, which if it goes untreated and if you binge drink, it can inflame your bladder and in a very extreme circumstance cause it to burst. That is certainly possible. They also said the front desk called the doctor, sent him up to the room. The doctor said there was no evidence of sexual assault, at least not forced vaginal assault.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah.
Now, the woman who said she saw all this happen said that he was on top of her or crushed her.
Yeah.
Because how else could a bladder burst? Which
there's
maybe
lots of ways, right?
There's lots of no, there's not. Bladders
really?
don't just burst. No.
Oh.
I mean, it could have happened because of the cystitis, but that's pretty extreme. But also he could have crushed her too. I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like that's not. It does. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that was her official cause of death, was that the bladder ruptured. We also these are just things like that I guess both sides had agreed on too. Like the narrative that the defense was pushing, obviously, they're trying to defend his character, so they're looking for things that would not necessarily paint Virginia in a poor light. Actually, in some of the articles I read, Arbuckle was against painting her in a poor light. Like they wanted to bring character witnesses onto the stand to like make her look bad, and he was like, "No, I don't want you to do that for whatever reason. I don't know." So
out of respect for the dead.
Out of respect for the dead, exactly. So their defense was made up of just things that were true about her. One, she had this cystitis. Yeah, cystitis. And she died from a ruptured bladder, and she didn't go to the hospital. Though like what the autopsy report showed, and what the doctor's like rape kit, I guess is what it was called at the time. I don't know, but all those things that it showed. That's the only defense that they had. The prosecution, on the other hand, wanted to paint a picture of They had Maud Del Monte, this friend, that was their star witness. So everything was based around her testimony. So that he was like on top of her, he crushed her. Everybody was drunk. Like, you know, like those were like the narratives they were painting, I suppose.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, so that's what they had, I guess, that they talked about.
Yeah, and so there were 3 trials that happened though.
Yeah.
So all this information is running through the news cycle and then running through each trial that they have. I guess the first 2 times the jury couldn't come to an agreement.
Yeah.
I guess that's like a
hung jury.
Hung jury.
Yeah, so it resulted in a mistrial the first 2 times.
Yep. Twice that happened.
Yeah.
And having to go through 2 trials for something seems pretty grueling. And then the 3rd time, they did allow some of this character, like, I guess, calling her character into question was allowed to happen.
Yeah.
And they pretty much just attacked her based on her drinking and promiscuity and just really kind of making her look like a fucked up party girl.
Yeah. Which I think like I think they used it to build the case that she had this cystitis, she was a heavy drinker, those 2 things combined would lead to this situation. Like,
right.
But you can't say that outright. I mean, you don't have the proof that
No.
she drank that much and that's why it happened. So that's why they had to bring a character witness in to like lean
Verify.
the jury that way.
Yeah.
But like, you know, and Arbuckle never took the stand. He never testified. Maud Del Monte never testified. And I think it was later found out. I don't know if you found this also, but but one of the sources I read says that they uncovered the fact that she was an extortionist.
Yeah,
So
Maud Del Monte, not
Maud Del Monte, who was the
quote
leading,
unquote friend. Yeah.
Yeah, who was a friend who was leading the narrative against him. So, her account was the prosecution's case.
Right.
And that's the narrative they were telling. So they found out she was an extortionist, and she was basically like a pimp, kind of. Like she would be the one you'd call to get all the girls and the booze to your party. So,
Got it.
like, not to say that her account isn't what happened, but it was found later that she had like extorted a bunch of celebrities who had like had parties that she kind of like quote unquote hosted or whatever.
Yeah, she would facilitate all the debaucherous shit.
Yeah. But let's be real, like this was like the first instance of something being tried in the media.
Yeah. Tried in the court of public opinion.
Yeah. Because people were so outraged, women especially were like, this gross like piece of shit, like he killed this woman and all this stuff, and his lawyers were trying to like do damage control and we're like, it's not that you don't know what happened, let the jury decide, all this stuff. But it didn't matter, the damage was done. People were so upset by all of the accounts they were reading from the media and like everything that was being drummed up on the front pages of newspapers nationwide. And it wasn't great.
I think even we can talk about our thoughts and feelings on it in a second. But so his career was never the same after this.
Oh no.
All his movies were banned.
He had a movie in theaters at the time of this event, and they pulled it. Like that day that the stories hit the newspapers, no one was showing it.
Yeah. And that was just like that was kind of a I guess a sign of the times then, where it was like any kind of impropriety was like, holy fucking shit, what? Like even a hint of it didn't matter if it was true or not.
Yeah.
Which sure, fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so his movies were banned. He he was he was broke.
Oh yeah.
He had to pay for all the lawyers, and there's 3 trials, so he had to keep paying for this, and he was acquitted. It wasn't like he didn't countersue for defamation or anything like that. Like,
No.
he was broke.
Did people even know how to do that? Like, did people even know
don't know.
to do that then? It's weird.
I'm sure, but
Yeah. But he spent
even
almost
still,
$1 million on his law
which
fees.
is a fucking shit ton of money for then. That would be like, I don't know how many millions of dollars now.
That's some fatty cash.
Yeah. He became an alcoholic. Like, he was like,
Yeah.
I mean, he was already on his way,
Yeah.
but he was drinking himself into oblivion after this. His friend Buster Keaton, who was a huge movie star, you've probably heard of him,
Yep.
tried to help him out by casting him in movies, but that wasn't really working.
Yeah.
So what he eventually ended up doing was adopting a pseudonym to get back into the showbiz, which his pseudonym was William Goodrich. And he ended up directing a series of comedy shorts under that name.
Did he adopt, like, and he had the initial B, right? And so it was like Will Be Good was like.
Yeah, but he did not go by that. He was like,
oh, okay. People read into that maybe.
Yeah, well, Buster Keaton actually said, because he was like kind of like he was funny, he suggested that he become a director under the alias Will Be Good. But that was a little too on the nose, so he just went with William Goodrich.
It's a little incriminating too.
Yeah.
It's like OJ's If I Did It.
Exactly. Yeah, so a decade after the whole trial and scandal, he tried to come back, and he signed a deal with Warner Brothers for a feature-length film, like the first one that he would get to star in since the whole debacle. Mm-hmm. And he signed his contract, and that night he went out with friends to celebrate him getting the contract, and then also his first wedding anniversary to his new wife. He ended up divorcing his first and second wives in the aftermath of the scandal. So he's celebrating, and that night he had a heart attack and died in his sleep.
Ugh.
Yeah, pretty sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty much it. Like, this whole thing, who knows what the actual truth of what actually happened. I mean, the fact remains that he was in there with her. Something bad happened. She died.
Yeah.
And people were very divided over it. So
yeah,
it was a sad thing and sad way to go. And
yeah, he had a sad life, which is like in the beginning, like, oh, just like how bad he felt, and you know how like self-conscious he was, and and you know how hard he worked and all this stuff, and I feel like people probably exploited him because they made him so much money, and which could also be like why he was potentially like protected through, you know, whatever. If anything shady went down at the party, like maybe he was protected a little bit, but it reminds me of like so many of the like comedic actors who have passed away that have actually been like rumored to have been involved in the biopic of his life story. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And because there's been a script floating around Hollywood since like, I mean like maybe the 70s, but definitely in at some point John Belushi had been like rumored to be interested in it and was like in talks potentially to like play him in a feature film, and then he died of a drug overdose, and it was like the same kind of thing, a jovial man, kind of chubbier, more like stocky. He wasn't fat. John Belushi wasn't like a big man, but he was chubby, and he he like passed away of a drug overdose.
Mm-hmm.
After he died, then it was rumored that John Candy would play Fatty Arbuckle potentially at some point. He died of a heart attack.
Then so sad.
Dude, so sad. I miss him so much.
What was his last movie? Wagons East.
Oh, I thought it was the. Oh yeah, is that the one that was like Canadian?
Yeah, I think so. Where they were trying to get to the West Coast. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know what you're like. Yeah, and he plays like a Mountie or something.
Yeah.
And then the last person to like have been rumored to be interested in it was Chris Farley, and they all had these lives that like ended tragically, but like had very sad stories, and it's weird. Anyway, people think there's a curse about it, but there's no curse. They're just like unhealthy men.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts and feelings? This is such a fucked up story. There's like no good outcome. It's all sad and it's tragic, and I don't know.
I just feel like I've been very tentative this episode. Because I'm not sure. I don't have enough like evidence, I guess, to like
make a decision.
Yeah, make a decision. And I don't want to be like shamey on the one hand, but also it's like fucked up and unfair to him if any of this, if all of these rumors get circulated and none of it was true.
Right.
So I don't know. Like all the doctor accounts and stuff seemed to be like she was okay and wasn't assaulted, but I mean everybody was drunk and he didn't. I don't know.
He could pay people off pretty easily too.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened.
I don't either. There's a lot of like random information out there too, and a lot of like who knows what's true because there's so much time has gone by since this was a real thing that happened. I don't know. There's it's hard to differentiate between rumors and truth.
Yeah.
But I think it's so crazy that it's so similar to the stuff that we're going through now. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty wild that at the time there was the reaction was so strong. Like people were like, "Oh no. Fuck that."
Yeah.
If like it didn't matter. What I was going to say earlier is like, it didn't matter what, like this whole thing was so scandalous and it was like somebody died because of it.
Yeah.
But also the way it was is like people didn't want to have anything to do with somebody who is this debaucherous.
Yeah.
In general, as all the kind of details about the party and stuff started to emerge, it was just like, ugh. People didn't have this concept that people in Hollywood were these debaucherous kind of lecherous people. Mm-hmm. They just consumed their art and their films and assumed that they were just these good normal people in real life. And so when it came out that he was drinking and addicted to morphine and was creepy with women,
had a crispy butthole.
Yeah, yeah, and was surrounded by kind of unsavory people. Also, yeah. It just like it kind of shocked people in that regard.
Yeah,
the whole overlying principle of the fact that a woman died was kind of beside the point, I think, in a lot of people's minds. So everybody involved was just gross, and people were just totally scandalized. So I don't know. It was the first time though that like people realized that Hollywood was gross and icky, and I don't know. I think we're starting to peel back some of the layers that have scabbed over since then. Yeah. And it's real. It's still really bad, guys.
It's worse
even worse than we imagined too.
I mean, like even this example doesn't seem like there's no, as far as we know, there was no cover up attempt made on this or any payoffs or like, it's even worse now. It feels like this was almost like
quaint,
a PG version of like the shit that's going on now.
And that's not to say that this like I think that Virginia Rapay was full-on victim no matter what. She was a victim. She fucking died.
Yeah.
Like, and however everything went down, I just, I feel so sad for her. I don't know.
I think there's a lot of stupid people involved. Someone should have taken her to the hospital at some point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I wonder if she could have lived. Like, I mean,
I know. She probably could have if she had been taken to the hospital.
4 days in excruciating pain in a hotel room. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, I'm so annoyed. That's, like, the most annoying part of this whole thing.
Go to the fucking doctor.
Yeah. And, yeah, you should never use people. Yeah. Like, I think during the trial, her medical history was completely fair game. Like, if she had this issue, and if there had been any signs during her autopsy of alcohol abuse, I think that's all fair to put into this, because it could show, like, these correlate to what actually happened in her insides. Yeah. But, like, all of the defamation of her character, that's all. And that is what is interesting to me, that it was a mistrial twice, because I feel like he'd already been tried by the media.
Totally.
And it's like, that was really surprising to me.
Yeah.
And also not surprising that they had to slander her character for him to be acquitted.
Right.
Like,
right.
It's all very interesting. It also is interesting to me, like, we just, like, hold celebrities to such a high standard, and when we're let down, when something happens and we see that they're people and they're human and they make mistakes, everyone's always so disappointed. Like, every time anyone gets divorced,
people take it so personally.
Yeah.
And
it has nothing hard to do with anything. No. And it ruins people's careers.
It's crazy. That's all I got.
Yeah. Follow us on social medias at DTFU Podcast.
Yeah. You could go to our website, dtfupodcast.com, to find all the things.
Mm-hmm. You could send us an email if you want with constructive feedback, dtfupodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Any other things?
If you want to visit our Patreon, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Also Patreon, at DTFU Podcast.
Yeah, patreon.com/DTFU Podcast.
Yeah. Don't hang around unsavory characters.
Don't drink bootleg alcohol.
No. Don't drink hooch. I think they refer to it as now.
Hooch, yeah.
Is it, or is that the prison alcohol?
Yeah, that could be. I mean, but that's like...
that's the same thing, yeah.
Don't drink bathtub gin. Like, you can just, like, save up a couple bucks and go buy some fucking gross-ass... I don't know. What's a gross one? Seagram's.
Why would you drink anything out of a bathroom? Don't drink anything that's made in a bathroom.
Don't do that.
That's the best advice I can give to you.
Or something that's been buried in the ground. Like, that's not, like, 1,000-year-old sake from Japan.
And you know what? And if you do drink it, you deserve what's coming.
Yeah. I mean, nah, yeah. Well, a lot of people go blind from it. You can get real serious internal bleeding.
That turlet vodka is not for consumption.
No.
Turlet sangria. Turlet sangria. Ugh.
Gross. Oh, fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, don't do it. You might think that, it's alcohol, the bacteria is killed, but there's other things that happen when stuff ferments. You can fuck your shit up.
Oh, yeah.
Just get a fucking G&T at your local bar. Get some rail alcohol. It's like $1 sometimes if you catch it on the right night.
Yeah.
Come on.
Or if, like, you're really desperate, maybe don't. Maybe just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe just skip it.
Just skip it. Just skip it.
Just skip it. Your face. Just skip it.
Just skip it. Don't party too hard. It's not fun when you wake up in the morning.
No.
Yeah, whatever. Do whatever you want.
I know.
All right. Okay. Be excellent.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.